Hello and welcome back to FiddleUP. I'm Emerald Ray, and in this video we are going to be talking about stagecraft. So stagecraft is something that if you haven't done a lot of performing, you maybe haven't thought about very much, but you might have noticed other people on stage doing some things that they don't do when they're off stage. And you might have thought, I wonder if that's something about the art of performing. And that is what we're going to talk about today. So stagecraft is a set of skills that you use on stage to kind of give your presence on stage a little gravitas. So one thing that would be very important to do now is, if you haven't watched it, I would go back and watch the video on confidence, on how to be confident. And in that video, I talk about creating a persona, and I go into depth about how to do that and how to make it very you. So before watching this video, I would go ahead and watch that one first, because that is kind of step one for your stagecraft, is deciding what your persona is and what is that role that you're playing on stage, because that's going to affect all of the rest of it. It's going to affect the tone and the vibe of each of these other things that we're talking about. So I would make sure that you decide what your, get your persona figured out, get that sort of hyper integration of what you are, and who that artist is, that artist character that you're going to play, play that role of, and get that figured out so that you can turn up to your gigs and you can walk in the door as that supreme being, And so that is going to inform what's going to happen with the rest of these things. And I'll talk about what that is now. So stagecraft has specifically to do with what you're doing to affect how you're being received by the audience. So the first thing to think about is your face, because people are going to read your face when you're on stage. And so it's really important, I think, to have something that's called a pleasant countenance, which is actually a ballet term. In ballet, people will say, make sure you have a pleasant countenance. And that doesn't mean a big toothy smile. That means look like you're enjoying it, because it's really important to make sure that people feel like you're feeling good about being on stage. And this is going to be sort of tempered with your stage persona, and also like the music you're putting out and what the vibe of the music is. So I'm trying to be a little bit vague on purpose, because what I don't want you to interpret this as is, I want you to walk on stage with a big toothy smile and look like you're enjoying it, as some kind of like forced sort of theatrical, Broadway style thing of, we're having so much fun, because your music might not be that vibe. Do you know what I mean? Your music might be a lot of sad songs, and what you want to get across to everybody is that you enjoy this, even if your music isn't super up. Like, you want people to know from your facial expressions when you get on stage that you do love doing this. There's just something that people really connect to when they know that the artist on stage is really there because they love doing it. I think people really, really need to see that. And I think it's because people, like, it's one of those jobs that people idolize, and they think like, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be so wonderful to be a musician? And that's their expectation when they come to your gig, that you're gonna be like, yeah, this is the best thing ever. And you might have had a bad day, you might have gotten a flat tire on the way to the gig, you might not be having the best day. So you need to have a little bit of a front of like, yes, I had a really terrible day. It was tough getting here. Oh my God, gigging is so hard, but I'm glad I'm here. Like, just in general in music, like, if on stage, when you get in front of that microphone, if that's not your favorite place to be, if that's not why you're here, maybe do something else. I'm not even kidding. Like, if you're not enjoying that performance, like, really, then you might need to think about that pretty seriously. So you need to be there because you want to be there, and the audience also, step two, needs to feel that from you, that you're glad to be there. Like, it needs to be like, oh, had a tough day getting here. My gosh, traveling is messy these days, but oh my gosh, I'm so glad to be here. And here's the microphone, and here are all of you. And this is why I do this. Like, it really needs to be that. Really, it really does. And then you can settle into the vibe of what your music is. It doesn't need to be super duper happy. It can just be relief of, like, we're doing something we all want to do. I want to be here playing for you, and you want to be here listening to it, and we're all here because we want to be here, hopefully. So that gets into, in terms of appearance, you want to make sure that your face matches the mood of, yeah, we want to be here, but also that your attire as well, like, reflects that. And so, clothes is one of those things that, especially in folk music. Oh my gosh, the folk music world is loath to wear a costume for any for anything, except when you get up to sort of higher levels. They sort of have a thing against gig clothes. A lot of women have gig outfits. I have an entire closet full of stuff that I only wear at a gig. But I'm a little dressier than most folk musicians, for sure. But so what you wear really makes a statement, whether you like it or not. Every fashion choice is a fashion choice, as I say. So you want to make sure your outfit matches the vibe of the music somehow. You want to make sure you are looking like yourself, or looking like, having an outfit that's a little bit more of an amplified version of you, or that's a fun version of you, or whatever. I just want to think about, what the vibe of the music is, because people are looking at you. So, long story short, people are looking at your face. They're also reading your outfit for, what, not only, the vibe of the music, but like how seriously you take yourself too. So having a gig outfit, never a bad idea. And, some people just wear their clothes and kind of live in their gig clothes, and it's just their thing. And then, some people like me live in their overalls, and when they get in front of a camera, so they put on their nice things. So, it's different for all of us, but it's important to understand that there is a visual component with all of this. And so, in terms of stagecraft, you want to make sure, your face is the vibe, of wanting to be there. Your outfit is kind of matching the vibe of your music. And you also want to think of the emotional energy throughout your set. You want to think of each song, like, what energy am I putting out there for each song? So you want to kind of be in the mood of the song, be present, be mindful. Really, if it's a sad song, give yourself a little couple of seconds of come down in energy mode, and make sure that your intro to the song, kind of gets into the vibe of the song before you get there. So if it's a slow song and you want to tell a sad story, you might kind of come down in the tone of your voice and all these things. And all of this stuff is kind of affecty, but it helps the audience to downshift into what you're doing next, or upshift. Like, if I'm really want the audience to be super up, I'll do that vampy thing where I'll do a vamp on my fiddle and be like, hey everybody, stompy, stompy, vampy, vampy. And then I'll just talk into the microphone as I'm going, and try to get them to respond a little bit, how's everybody doing? Blah, blah, blah. All that kind of stuff. That's not cheesy when it's being effective in terms of getting everybody's attention and getting everybody locked into what's going on, and getting the energy really built up before you even start the song. So when you're thinking about what you're going to say before each song, if you're going to say anything, like, make sure that you're being effective in terms of how is this going to lead into the next thing. And so, yeah, so once you get the emotional energy figured out for the entirety of the set, you want to make sure, last but not least, that you are putting on a show from the moment that you step onto the stage to the moment you step off, and I would argue even as you're out, you know, signing merchandise or whatever you're doing after the gig or talking to people after, you're putting on a performance for them. These people paid money to come and see you, and you know what they're getting from you is, you know, is a product, an enjoyable experience, and that is a tangible thing in the moment. So, and it's something that will create memories for them, and they will talk about years later. Hopefully, you know, they'll be like, "Hey, remember that time we went to see that show, and it was just amazing, and we love that venue, and da da da." You know, we got to go do that again. You know, it's like, you know, you're really providing an experience for people. So it's really important to make sure that they are getting the most quality experience that they can get from you. And that is your job as a professional musician, to provide that. And this is something that can develop organically over time. You can change things. You can come out with a new album and you know, have things be a little different this time. But basically, you want to have an expectation. People want to expect to come to your show and have a really quality time. That's going to be your aim. Aim for excellence always. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please send me questions. I would love to know what else you would love to know about stagecraft and professionalism and all of this stuff that I'm talking about. So please let me know, and I will see you in the next visit, in the next video.